Welcome back to Husker Talk with Tommy Frazier. And one of the biggest areas, Nebraska lost three players who are now in the NFL, and Prince Amakamura.
John Gomes.
Correct, and Eric Haig, the kind of peso linebacker hybrid. And how do you think the replacement of those guys is going at corner? And we know Alfonso Dennard was out, so we got some guys getting some experience.
I think the secondary is probably the weakest part of this defense. You know, even though we say the linebackers don't have depth, they still have a playmaker there who can cover up for those guys. But secondary, those guys, well, I just hope and pray. I'm actually glad we're not in the Big 12 this year, you know, because I don't think we'll be able to hold up covering guys. You know, so I think we're going to have to wait, let those guys get more experience, but it's going to be tough. You know, Dennard, he was out, but still, that's only one guy. You know, you still got three other guys back there that you got to hope steps up to the challenge. And what I saw Saturday, I saw some of the stuff from the same guy last year where you had Deontay Evans. You know, they really didn't throw the ball to the side because they want to attack Andrew Green, but there were times where he didn't play very well. And then the safeties, oh my goodness, what were they thinking about? You know, you got Austin Cassidy still doing the same thing he did last year. Strong safety, and you got Courtney Osborne who's a solid hitter, but coverage-wise he didn't do too well. You know, so I think that it's going to be one of those deals where they experiment until they find the right combination.
Yeah, and the number 2 corner probably, you know, is Deontay Evans, and he finished strong last year, and now he's, you know, with Dennard out, he is, you know, the top corner. And Andrew Green, at second quarter, they went at him a couple times back-to-back. He made plays. On the one touchdown, first drive of the third quarter, he said, you know, he just wasn't physical enough. He didn't slip the guy, threw him down, and, you know, maybe they could call it, but he said, that's football. Sometimes you get called, so that's something to learn from.
You know, football is corny. If you're going to guard, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. You know, look at all the top defensive backs who ever played the game. They didn't always stop that man. You know, even last year, Prince Amakamura had a rough day versus Oklahoma State. Yeah. You know, so when you're a corner and you cover those guys, you got to cover for a long time. The protection there, you're going to win some battles, you're going to lose some.
Yeah, and a Florida native who has seen time off and on, especially towards the end of last year. So I don't know if Antonio Bell, number 2, any thoughts on him?
Well, you know, it's just one of those deals. How fast is he learning? You know, it's one of those deals too. When you, of course, those guys had Marvin Sanders there last year, who's, in my opinion, probably one of the, if not the best, one of the best defensive back coaches in college football or high school or pro. You know, so I think they're missing out there. But you brought in a young guy in Corey Raymond, and hopefully he's teaching the same thing. What I've heard, he's teaching a little bit different. So it's also those guys trying to adapt to his coaching technique, coaching style. But I just think that coming off last year with the experience those guys had with Coach Sanders coaching them, and then coming this year with a young guy who not played the game not too long ago, I think they should be able to find a mixture of both to be helpful. But they don't need to find it fast, because if they don't play better, it's going to be a long year for Nebraska's defense.
And one player who's a first-year player but not a freshman, Damian Stafford at safety. What'd you see from him?
I think that guy's going to be starting by the third week of the season.
That would be after the next game, Washington.
He might not start this game, but he's going to start the Washington game. If he plays the way he plays this Saturday, he's going to be a good player. To me, he reminds me of Toby Wright, one of those guys who's not afraid to go out there and just throw his body and hit someone. And he made some of the best hits I've seen in a long time from a Nebraska defensive back. You know, so I just think that one more game up on his belt, and those if Osborne or Cassidy, they don't play any better, he will be in the lineup. And if he's not, I'm going to petition he gets in there, because I mean he'll electrify the crowd, and that's what you want from a secondary guy.
Yeah, and it wasn't just that one hit. He had
multiple hits.
Couple hits behind the line, but they were just sticks.
And I think one hit he kind of knocked himself dazed. He
had
to come off the field after that
a little bit.
So you know you're hitting someone when you're knocking yourself out.
Yeah. So they have some bodies, they have some depth at safety. It's just, you know, 2 guys really need to
step up and make the plays and show that, hey, I'm going to be the guy. And I think he's one of those guys that, you know, he's going to be the starter for too long.
And when they go to that dime look, what did you think of that with Justin Blatchford, number 39, coming in?
You know, I just see it as I don't know if he's the right guy for the job, or he might be the best guy for the job. You know, so hopefully when they go to they could put a Stafford back there and put Osborne out there. I think he'll be a little bit more better cover guy in the slot. I think he can hold up to the run because he tackles a little bit better than P.J. Smith. You know, but you know, it's just an experiment right now. You know, right now Chattanooga didn't do too much where they really needed it. You know, but there's gonna be games where teams are gonna spread them out, and you're gonna have to play that dime. You better get a guy who can cover.
Yeah, and Justin Blatchford did make a few plays. It's just when he didn't, it really stood out. And I thought they put him in some tough matchups as he was coming right off the bench, covering their top All-American receiver for Division I AA. So he was in some tough matchups. Maybe you get him in a little better situation.
Right. And that's what they knew they were going to try to cover him with a linebacker type, safety type guy. So that's why he did it. So last year when they did that, he had Gomes and Haig. It didn't matter what style they were just the same like he was playing a DB anyway. So I guess they got to find a couple guys that can do that.
Yeah. And somewhere else where they found a couple guys to make some plays is in the return game. And we'll talk special teams when we come back on Husker Talk with Tommie Frazier.